Morning, boys. So today we're going to talk about the age-old question: side by side or ATV? Which one should you buy? So I think the number one thing everyone has to consider when they're trying to pick side by side or ATV is the price. So it's no secret that a small Jeep is more expensive than this. So it's all about, what's in your budget. But you also have to take into consideration bang for the buck. You can get Yamaha Kodiak 700. This is a Grizzly, but you can get a Yamaha Kodiak 700 with diff lock, with EPS, everything else for around 11 grand Canadian. You can get this at bare bones side by side with no options and not even power steering for more than that. But I would argue you could do more with a side-by-side than an ATV, but we'll get to that. The second thing would be size. I mean, you can see in front of me which one's bigger, right? And there's a lot of stuff that goes along with the size aspect, and they could be both pro and con. Go Bruins, by the way. So the size plays a role when it comes to storage and transportation, and both the storage, what you can actually keep in the machine, on the machine at all times. So number one, let's talk about storing the machine. You don't need much space to store one of these at all. You need a lot more space to actually store a side-by-side. You don't think you do, but this thing is 9 feet long, five-ish feet wide. This thing is 4 feet long, maybe 6 feet, or 4 feet wide, 6 feet long. You understand what I'm saying? That also plays a role when it comes to transporting it. I can throw this in the back of any half-ton pickup truck and be okay. This, you're not going to throw this in the back of a pickup truck. It's just too wide. So you need then a trailer, which is another investment. By the way, Tim, thank you for letting me use your trailer. So storage in the unit now, it's no secret, if you watch my video, the gear I carry in my side-by-side, you can see just how much storage a side-by-side has versus an ATV. Now, right now, I'll cut in a short clip of this box here. So this box had to be custom built. My dad's a welder, was a welder fabricator. I guess once you're a welder fabricator, it never stops. So he had to custom build this. So it's all made out of aluminum. But you can see there, it's got the gas cans built in. And these here undo, and then the whole gas can pops out. So, but you can see here the kind of storage you can get in one of these. When you compare that to a side-by-side, that's a full 20-liter jerry can. These here are just, if you work construction, you know these Milwaukee pack-out boxes. There's tons more room here. And then the Commander also has this compartment down here. The Commander also has the glove box. So you can see the difference in storage. Okay, so now that you've seen the difference in storage between ATV and side-by-side, and yeah, I know the new ATVs, they have a little bit more, like up here on the Yamahas have a little bit of storage. The Grizzlies have that thread-in thing. Don't even argue, because it's not going to come close to a side-by-side. You're never going to be able to compare the two. Moving on from storage, which I feel storage is a very important consideration, at least for the type of riding I do. Now let's talk about exposure and safety. So in a side-by-side, at least with this half windshield and the roof, you're fairly well protected, even in the rain. You're completely exposed here. On a side-by-side, you have a roll cage. And I know this sounds like an infomercial for side-by-side, but you'll just hear me out. On a side-by-side, you have a roll cage to protect you. If you have doors on it, the doors can protect you if you roll over. You do stay cleaner in a side-by-side than you do on an ATV. Now, none of us care about getting dirty, but I mean, at the end of the day, if you're not covered in mud, it's less cleaning you have to do on your own clothes. These are way safer than one of these. That's it. No ifs, ands, or buts. Maneuverability. Easy winner there. The ATV, 10 times more maneuverable than a side-by-side. That's it. There's no argument. It's just more maneuverable. Okay, so we talked about safety, we talked about maneuverability. It's time for, we talked about storage. It's time for a head-to-head capabilities between the two. If you watch my Hell's Trail or Devil's Loop video, Devil's Loop Part 2 especially, and then if you watch the video 2 Kilometers of Carnage, you can see, if you pay attention, the differences in capabilities between ATVs. Now, not so much in Devil's Loop because an ATV wasn't there for the whole ride, but if you're into the rock crawling and hardcore, you know, you almost have to winch up the hills, it's so steep, that kind of stuff with boulders in the way. A side-by-side, because of the longer and wider wheelbase, is actually going to be easier to do that with. But on the flip side, if you're a mud rider and all you care about and it is flying through mud holes and, you know, getting her buried up to the racks, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I love going through mud, it's fun. An ATV is probably the way to go because they're lighter, you can get off it, you can help it along easier. If you get a side-by-side stuck, it's stuck. Again, watch the tail end of my last video where I overheated. Just watch what happens when a side-by-side gets stuck in some real black dirt. It's freaking gnarly. Now this next one I debated talking about. I wasn't sure if I should or not because it would probably spark debate. But hey, that's what the comment section is for, right? So, aftermarket and the availability of aftermarket accessories. I would say there's more aftermarket stuff for side-by-sides, but that's because you can do more to side-by-sides than ATVs. You're not going to buy rock sliders for an ATV. You're not going to buy harnesses for an ATV. That kind of stuff. I would say lift kits are more common in side-by-sides than they are in ATVs. I know a lot of people who have ATVs who, you know, they throw a set of 27, 28-inch tires on it, call it a day. A lot of people with side-by-sides, they throw the 2.5-inch lift in, they throw 30, 32-inch tires on it, they throw wheel spacers in. It's because these are more like a Jeep than they are an ATV. The rabbit hole you fall down. Well, if I do this, I got to do this, and then I do that, I got to do this, and the next thing you know, you're changing out the drive shafts because everything else has been changed, and that's now the weak point. The bottom line is the aftermarket is bigger, but that's because there's more options for a side-by-side than an ATV. But if you just want something that's, you know, you're going to take out on the trails once in a while, maybe do a little bit of light work around the property, then the aftermarket really, that doesn't have any weight on which one you're going to buy. Versatility. This is something that I think a lot of people, when they're looking into which one to buy, versatility is key. In my opinion, there's only one winner here. The side-by-side is way more versatile than an ATV. Watch the video called 2 Commanders, 1 Mission and tell me how an ATV is going to carry that much. I'll wait. Last one to talk about, which is really important to me, is fun factor. You have to have fun when you're ripping around in this thing. With all that being said, I think the ATV is the more fun of the two to use and operate. I've said that since day one. I said that when I had my previous ATVs, and I still say that despite having this, and I love this thing to death, but an ATV is still more fun because you're riding it. Now, this is all, it's a relative thing, right? Because to a cat, hunting a bird is fun, but to the bird, it's freaking terrifying. To me, an ATV is more fun than a side-by-side. But I got the side-by-side. I chose to buy the side-by-side because of the versatility, because of the storage, because of the type of riding I like to do. The side-by-side was the better choice for that. I still love doing it, and I still love driving it, but the ATV is the more fun, in my opinion. I know this video has been done before, but I just wanted to offer my take on it. Let me know in the comments down below which one you prefer. Let me know why. Tell me why you disagree with any of my points or agree with any of my points. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and go Bruins, and I'll see you on the next one. And a very special thank you to the two ladies who helped out with the decals, Melanie and Shaylin. I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot.